welcome back to Prime Wealth. Today, we're diving into a topic that can really impact your financial health. You know, those sneaky hidden fees that can add up without you even noticing.
Absolutely, Jordan. Whether it's bank fees, subscription services, or other service costs, these little charges can eat away at your budget and derail your long-term financial goals.
Right. And the best part is, there are practical steps you can take to cut these costs. We're going to break down some common culprits and give you actionable tips on how to avoid them.
We'll talk about how to identify those hidden fees in your bank accounts, ways to evaluate your subscriptions, and even how to negotiate better deals with service providers.
That sounds like a plan. By the end of this episode, you'll have a clearer idea of where you might be leaking money and what you can do to plug those holes.
So if you're ready to take control of your finances and boost your savings, let's jump right in.
So, Alex, when we talk about cutting hidden fees, it feels like such a small change, but it can really add up, right? Especially for folks over 40 who are thinking about retirement.
Absolutely, Jordan. Every dollar counts, especially as you get closer to retirement. You know, research shows that the average American spends about $350 a year on subscription services alone, and that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Wow, that's a lot! And I think a lot of people don't even realize how those little fees sneak in. Like, if you have several subscriptions, it's easy to forget about one or two.
Exactly. I had a client recently who found out they were still paying for a gym membership they hadn't used in over a year. They were just letting it roll over, thinking it was no big deal.
That's wild. It's such a common thing. I mean, life gets busy, right? You sign up for things thinking you'll use them, but then
life happens. And those fees don't just disappear. They chip away at your budget. And when you're trying to save for retirement or even just to feel financially secure, every dollar matters.
It's like that saying, a penny saved is a penny earned. But it feels more relevant than ever, especially with inflation hitting so many of us.
Exactly. With inflation rising, the purchasing power of your money is decreasing. So, if you're not actively managing your expenses, it can feel like you're running in place, or even going backward.
Right, and it's not just about the fees, it's also about the emotional aspect of money. People often feel stressed when they realize their financial situation isn't what they thought it was.
That's a great point. Money can be a huge source of anxiety. Knowing that you're losing money to hidden fees can make you feel like you're not in control of your financial future.
And for those approaching retirement, that sense of control is crucial. You want to feel like you're on track, that you're making progress toward your goals.
Exactly. Imagine someone who's 50 and has 15 years to go until retirement. If they're paying hidden fees that could be invested instead, they could be missing out on significant growth over time.
Like compounding interest, right? I mean, even small amounts can turn into something substantial if invested wisely.
Yes. Just think about it. If they cut out those hidden fees and redirected that money into an investment account, they could potentially increase their retirement savings by thousands of dollars by the time they retire.
That's a game changer. Do you have any stats or examples that might illustrate this further?
Sure. Here's the scenario. Let's say someone pays $20 a month for a subscription service they hardly use. Over a year, that's $240. If they invested that money instead, assuming a modest 7% return, they'd have about $600 after 15 years.
Wow, that really adds up. It's amazing how that little bit can snowball over time.
Exactly. And consider bank fees, too. Many people are unaware of maintenance fees on checking accounts or overdraft fees. It's easy to overlook, but those can easily add up to hundreds of dollars a year.
Right, and it's not just about the fees, it's also about the emotional drain of worrying about money. People often don't realize how much that stress can affect their quality of life.
Yes, and for those over 40, it's a pivotal time. Often you're dealing with kids in college, saving for your own retirement, and perhaps caring for aging parents. Every bit of financial relief can make a difference.
It really can. And when you start cutting those hidden fees, it's not just about the money you save. It can also empower you and give you a sense of control back over your finances.
Absolutely. It's about creating a mindset of awareness and intention with your spending. It can lead to a more secure financial future, which is so important as you approach retirement.
And I think a lot of people don't realize how much power they have over their financial situation. It's not just about earning more. It's also about spending wisely.
You nailed it. Many people focus solely on increasing income, but managing expenses is just as critical. And those small changes can lead to significant impacts over time.
So true. And it's not just about cutting costs either. It's about being strategic. Like, if you're paying for a service that you really enjoy, that's not a hidden fee. That's an investment in your happiness.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance. But then there are those expenses that don't add real value to your life. Those are the ones to rethink.
And sometimes it's just a matter of asking questions, like, can you negotiate your bank fees? Or can you find a better deal on that subscription?
Yes. Many people don't realize that simply asking can lead to lower fees or even better services. It's worth taking the time to check in with your providers.
And with technology today, there are apps and tools that can help you track those subscriptions and identify hidden fees.
Definitely. We live in a world where technology can empower us to be more informed consumers. It's all about leveraging that to your advantage.
So it sounds like there are really practical steps people can take to cut those hidden fees and make a positive impact on their financial future.
Exactly. And now, let's dive into some core strategies for cutting these fees and maximizing your savings.
So let's dive into some core strategies for cutting those hidden fees, especially with banks, subscriptions, and services. Where do you think we should start, Alex?
Well, one of the first things I recommend is to regularly review your bank statements. That's where a lot of hidden fees can sneak in, right? Just looking at those monthly statements can reveal things like maintenance fees, ATM fees, or even overdraft charges that you might not notice otherwise.
Yeah, it's easy to overlook those small amounts. I mean, they add up over time, right? What should people be looking for specifically?
Exactly. Look for any recurring fees. Some banks charge monthly maintenance fees if your balance falls below a certain amount. If you notice that happening, it might be worth switching to a bank that offers no-fee checking accounts.
That's a great point, and I think a lot of people don't realize how many options are out there these days. Online banks often have much lower fees compared to traditional brick-and-mortar banks.
Absolutely, and another important step is to take advantage of bank promotions. Many banks offer sign-up bonuses for new accounts, which can offset those fees if you're strategic about it.
Right! And it's not just about switching banks, though. You can also negotiate. Have you ever had success with that?
Oh, for sure. It's surprising how often banks are willing to waive fees if you just ask. A simple phone call can sometimes lead to getting those fees reversed, or at least reduce them.
So you're saying that just reaching out could save money? That seems doable.
Definitely, and don't forget to leverage tools or apps that help track your subscriptions. There are services like Truebill or Trim that can analyze your spending and even help negotiate bills for you.
Those sound super helpful. I know sometimes I forget about subscriptions I signed up for, like a free trial that turns into a monthly fee.
Yes, those are notorious. Setting reminders for subscription renewals can save you from unexpected charges. And if you decide you really don't need a service, canceling immediately is key.
That makes sense. So it sounds like being proactive is really important. What about when it comes to services like utilities or insurance?
Good question. Just like with banks, it's beneficial to shop around for better rates on utilities and insurance. Many people don't realize they can negotiate their insurance premiums, either. Just call your provider and ask for discounts.
So it's all about being informed and willing to speak up, huh?
Exactly. And consider bundling services. For example, many companies offer discounts if you bundle home and auto insurance. That can lead to significant savings.
I see that a lot in commercials, but it's nice to know it actually works.
It does. And here's a little rule of thumb. Set a recurring calendar reminder, maybe every 6 months, to review your services and fees, just like you do with your bank statements.
That's a smart idea. It keeps you in the loop. Now, what about subscriptions? They seem to multiply without us realizing it.
Right? You can set a limit for how many subscriptions you allow yourself each month. It's easy to get carried away with streaming services, meal kits, or even apps.
Oh, for sure. I've signed up for a few things, thinking I'd use them regularly, and then nada.
You're not alone there. So a practical step is to do a subscription audit. Write down every subscription you're paying for and evaluate whether you really use each one.
And if you find you're not using something, just cancel it right away.
Exactly. You can also consider sharing subscriptions with family or friends. Just make sure you trust them to chip in.
Ha! Yes, that could be a fun way to save. What about hidden fees and things like gym memberships or clubs?
Oh, gym memberships are notorious. Some have initiation fees, cancellation fees, or even contracts that auto-renew. Always read the fine print.
Right, and sometimes those contracts can be hard to spot. What's a good way to navigate that?
Look for places that offer month-to-month memberships instead of long-term contracts. And always ask about fees up front before signing anything.
Sounds like being upfront can save a lot of headaches later on.
It really can. And don't forget to take advantage of free trials. Just set a calendar reminder to evaluate whether you want to keep it or not before the trial ends.
Smart. Now, you mentioned earlier about leveraging technology. How can tech help with managing these fees?
There are budgeting apps like YNAB or Mint that can help you keep track of your spending and alert you to any fees. They often categorize your expenses so you can see where those hidden charges are sneaking in.
That sounds super useful, and I imagine the more aware you are, the more control you have over your finances.
Exactly. And as you keep an eye on those fees, it's also a good idea to stay informed about consumer protection laws. Sometimes, you can dispute fees that are unfair or aren't clearly disclosed.
I didn't know that. It's empowering to know we have rights as consumers.
It really is. Now, while these strategies can help you cut hidden fees, it's also important to be aware of common pitfalls.
Pitfalls? Like what?
Well, one big one is assuming that your current providers are the best option without doing any research. It's easy to get comfortable and overlook potential savings.
Got it. So we need to stay vigilant and not just stick with what we know.
Exactly. And another pitfall is not tracking those fees regularly. If you wait too long, you could miss opportunities to save.
Yeah, it's all about staying proactive, isn't it?
Absolutely. So those are some immediate steps you can take. Now let's bring everything together.
You know, Alex, as we talk about hidden fees, I'm thinking about how many people just don't even realize they're being charged for things they didn't sign up for.
Absolutely, Jordan. It's so common. A lot of folks might have subscriptions they completely forgot about, or maybe they signed up for a free trial that turned into a recurring charge without them noticing.
Right! And it can be really frustrating when that happens. I mean, I've heard stories of people finding out, like, 6 months later that they've been paying for a streaming service they never used.
Exactly. One client shared with me that she had a gym membership she hadn't used in over a year. She thought she was only paying a small monthly fee, but when we looked closer, it turned out to be more than she realized.
Wow, that adds up. It's like money just slipping through your fingers without you even knowing.
Yes, and the danger signs are often there. For instance, if you see a recurring charge and you can't recall what it was for, that's a red flag. Or if you get an email about a price increase on a service you've barely used, you might want to dig deeper.
That makes so much sense. I think a lot of us get busy and just ignore those notifications thinking, oh, I'll deal with it later, but later can turn into never, right?
Exactly. And sometimes people feel embarrassed about not keeping track of these things. It's important to remember that it happens to the best of us.
For sure. I mean, I even had a subscription to a magazine I loved when I was younger, but then I just stopped reading it. I kept getting charged for it for months before I finally said, wait a minute, why am I paying for this?
That's a classic example. And with so many services competing for our attention, it's easy to lose track. Another pitfall I see is when people don't read the fine print.
Oh, the fine print. It's like the hidden treasure or the hidden traps, right?
Exactly. Sometimes, a seemingly great deal comes with conditions that can lead to unexpected charges, like maintenance fees or account fees that kick in after a promotional period ends.
Yeah, I've seen that with credit cards too. They lure you in with no annual fee for the first year, and then boom, there's a hefty fee the following year.
Right, and some people don't realize until they get the bill, and then it can feel overwhelming. It's so important to review those terms before you commit.
So what are some other common mistakes that people make when it comes to fees?
Well, a big one is not regularly reviewing bank statements or bills. I suggest setting aside time, maybe monthly or quarterly, to go through your statements. Look for anything that seems off or any recurring charges that you didn't authorize.
That's a great tip. It's like a financial checkup, right?
Exactly, Jordan. And another pitfall is relying solely on the bank's customer service for information. While they can be helpful, sometimes they might not highlight all the fees associated with certain accounts, or they might not mention options that can save you money.
That's so true. I guess it's about being proactive and doing some research on your own too, right?
Definitely. And if you're looking at a new service or subscription, comparing it to others can really help you spot potential hidden fees.
I love that. It's like shopping with an eye for detail. You're not just looking at the price tag, but what's included and what could sneak up on you later.
Exactly. And speaking of sneaky, some companies are notorious for making it difficult to cancel services. That's another danger sign. If you find it hard to figure out how to cancel a subscription, be cautious, because that often points to hidden fees or tactics to keep you locked in.
Yes. I've heard horror stories about people trying to cancel gym memberships or cable services. It's like they want you to stay forever, even if you don't want to.
Right, and that's why being informed and vigilant is so crucial. If you're ever considering a service, do a bit of research online. Look for reviews or experiences from others who might have faced similar challenges.
That's smart, and I think it also helps to ask yourself if you really need a service. Like, just because it's popular doesn't mean it's right for you, right?
Absolutely. Sometimes people jump on the latest trend without thinking about whether it fits their lifestyle or budget.
And then they're hit with those fees. It's a ripple effect.
Exactly. Being aware of your own habits and needs is essential. And if you find that you're paying for something just out of habit, that's a good time to reassess.
So true. It's like looking at your spending as a reflection of your priorities.
Yes, and that can lead to some significant savings. If you're cutting out unnecessary fees, you can redirect that money into something that aligns better with your goals, like saving for retirement or a special trip.
I love that thought. It's all about making your money work for you, not the other way around.
Exactly. And remember, it's never too late to start reevaluating and making changes. If you're noticing those danger signs, take action.
So, what can people do right now if they're feeling overwhelmed by all this?
Well, first, I'd recommend sitting down with your bank statements and bills. Make a list of any recurring charges and then check them against your needs and usage.
That sounds like a solid plan.
And don't hesitate to reach out to customer service if you have questions about fees. They can clarify what you're being charged for and help you find options that could save you money.
Yes, being proactive is key.
So those are some immediate steps you can take. Now let's bring everything together as we move into our outro.
So, Alex, now that we've talked about those hidden fees and how they can really sneak up on us, what can our listeners do right now to tackle this issue?
Great question, Jordan. The first step is really about awareness. I'd suggest listeners take a good look at their bank statements. Just go through a couple of months' worth and highlight any charges that stand out. Things like monthly fees, service charges, and even those little transaction fees that can add up.
Right. Just pulling out those statements can be an eye-opener. It's amazing how many people don't even realize what they're paying for until they actually see it laid out.
Exactly. And once they identify those fees, they can start making a list. Just write down what they're being charged for and how often. This list will be a powerful tool when they start to negotiate or switch services.
So, after making that list, what's the next step?
Well, the next step is to reach out to their bank or service providers. Many people don't realize that just by asking, they might be able to have those fees waived, or even negotiate a better rate. It doesn't hurt to ask, right?
Totally! And if they get a no, it's not the end of the world. It just means it might be time to explore other options.
Absolutely. And speaking of exploring options, I'd recommend looking into some alternatives. For banking, consider online banks that often have lower fees than traditional banks. Apps like Ally or Chime are worth checking out.
Oh, those are great suggestions. And what about subscriptions?
For subscriptions, I think it's important to regularly review what you're signed up for. A good habit to get into is setting a calendar reminder every few months to check if you're still using those services. You can use apps like Truebill or Bobby to track your subscriptions and get notified about renewals.
Those apps are lifesavers. They make it so easy to see everything in one place. But what if someone feels overwhelmed by the thought of going through all their subscriptions?
That's totally understandable. I'd suggest starting small. Maybe pick one category at a time, like just focus on streaming services this month. Then, once that's done, move on to magazines or other subscriptions.
Yeah, breaking it down into smaller tasks makes it way more manageable. And what about those pesky service fees that come with things like ticket purchases or online shopping?
Good point. Many times, those fees are unavoidable, but it helps to be aware of them. One trick is to look for services that offer ticket purchases without added fees, or use platforms that bundle things together. Sometimes you can save by buying multiple items at once.
That's smart. And for online shopping, it helps to check if there are promo codes available before checking out.
Definitely. Websites like Honey or Rakuten can help find those codes automatically. Plus, they often offer cash back on purchases, which is another way to save.
So many tools out there. Now what about budgeting? How does that fit into cutting hidden fees?
Budgeting is essential. By creating a budget, listeners can allocate funds for necessary expenses and see where they might be overspending. There are apps like Mint or YNAB that can help with tracking expenses and creating a budget.
Those apps really make budgeting simpler. And it's nice to have that visual representation of where your money is going.
Exactly. And I think once you start budgeting, you'll find areas where you can cut back. Maybe it's eating out less or reducing impulse buys. And those savings can help offset any fees.
Right. It's all about shifting that mindset. Instead of just focusing on the fees, it's also about finding ways to save in other areas.
Yes. And another habit to build is to always question new charges or services when they come up. You know, when you get that new subscription or a service offers you a free trial, remind yourself to check in after a month to see if you still need it.
That's a good reminder. And I think keeping an eye on that trial period can save people some major headaches.
Absolutely. And for those who might be feeling a bit lost, I'd recommend checking out some personal finance books. Titles like Your Money or Your Life by Vicki Robin or The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey can offer some great insights on managing finances and avoiding unnecessary fees.
Those are classics. I think they really help build a strong foundation for financial literacy.
Right. And the key is consistency. Once you start to implement these strategies, it becomes easier over time.
Ah, so true. Making it a habit, you know? So any last tools or tips you'd suggest before we move on?
Well, I'd say if someone feels particularly overwhelmed, they might consider working with a financial advisor. Just having that extra support can help them navigate through their financial landscape, especially when it comes to hidden fees.
That's a great point. Having that accountability can really make a difference.
Exactly. So those are some immediate steps you can take. Now, let's bring everything together.
Well, what a journey we've had today, right? We really dove into the world of hidden fees.
Absolutely. And it's surprising how much those little charges can add up over time.
Yeah, so we highlighted some key takeaways. First, always read the fine print on your bank statements and service agreements.
Right. And don't forget to regularly review your subscriptions. There might be services you've forgotten about, and they're just draining your wallet.
Exactly. And then there's that important point about negotiating fees. Don't be afraid to ask your bank or service providers for better terms.
And remember, if you find a fee that doesn't sit right with you, challenge it. You'd be surprised how often you can get it waived.
It really is empowering, isn't it? Taking control of those hidden costs can lead to significant savings over time.
Definitely, and it's all about creating that financial security for the future, right?
Right. So don't let those fees sneak up on you. Take charge.
It's about building that wealth little by little and being mindful of where your money goes.
And for those of you listening, if you found this episode helpful, make sure to like and subscribe, and we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments.
Yeah, share this episode with someone who's over 40 and could use some financial tips.
And next time, we'll be diving into meal planning on a budget.
That's right. We'll explore how you can save up to $500 a month just by being strategic with your grocery shopping and meal prep.
So exciting.
Looking forward to it.
Until then,
Stay savvy.
bye for now.